Okay, we are starting. So welcome on. I think I'm probably about 1 minute early on for you today. But I got to tell you, I'm so anxious every Monday at this time that I'm like itching to just talk to you all. And we talk about all kinds of topics. So if you are new to Rich Girl Facebook Live, we have a lot of topics that we talk about. Now, because of my background in business for so long and as an entrepreneur, I will tell you that I do have a little bit a bend towards that, but we don't always talk about business because being a rich girl really is about balance in all areas of your life. And it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the finances, although I think that piece comes because when you're happy, when you're joyful, when you're moving in the right direction in your life, then you will attract those kinds of things in your life called finances, called relationships, called really everything. So welcome today. I think you're going to love today, and be sure, because this is a little bit more of an open format. The last week we did Let's Talk Men. Yeah, we're definitely talking men part two today. So be ready to comment in the comment section, okay? Because we definitely want to hear from you. We had a couple people comment last week, actually a lot of people. We had like 153 people who watched this video. So I know you're just as interested in knowing a little bit more about men, your man, as I am. So many things that you're going to hear today is because over all these many years, I've learned a few things. Now, I also know that not everybody's going to agree with me, and that's okay too. That's okay. We just come to this forum, and you've got your own opinions and you've got your own experience as well as I have. So what we can do though is we can take one idea, another idea, and mix it together and come up with some really great ideas together, right? Of course. So let's get started. Becky, welcome. Thanks for being on today, my friend from Indiana. And also I want to ask all of you the question today, as we go through several points of Let's Talk Men, is how do you set goals together? Okay, now I got to tell you that my husband and I haven't always set goals together. Sometimes we're just hit and miss on that, hit and miss, and then I'll get frustrated or he'll get frustrated because we seem not to be on the same page with one another. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. Okay, so first I want to say hi to Pat. Oh, good. It's good to be with you today too, and thank you for your follow through. Aquila, it's great to have you on as well. We are going to just kind of highlight some things last week that we talked about, just making sure that you guys are on top of all this. Okay, so what do you share with your husband? Be careful about that, right? Because sometimes it can come back and bite you for a long, long time. And then how does your husband see you? You know, when you decide you want to do something, whether it's in your business, your personal life, or you make a commitment to it, you share that with him. Does he see you being committed to that? Because you want respect from your husband, but you got to earn some of that respect, right? Of course you do. And then, of course, we talked about reentry time. We talked about 5 different topics last time. So here's how you can catch this. Again, you can always catch this on Facebook Live, but you can also send your friends to YouTube, and I am on there, Suzanne Brothers Rich Girl. So you can see it on there as well. All right, so here we go. Okay, here we go. I want to ask you how, if you're in business or you want to do anything, relationships, people in your life, how do you refer to that business, to that team, to that relationship? Okay, this is my question to all of you. When you have a business or you're an entrepreneur, do you talk about my income or do you talk about our income? Do you talk about my team members or do you talk about our team members? Do you talk about my church group that's meeting on Zoom or our gals from the church? Okay, how do you talk about what's in your life? Because when you change the way both of you look at your life, it's ours, not mine or mine over here, then they're not creating division, you're creating inclusion, unity with you and your guy. So both of you taking ownership. Okay, so think about how men think about things. Okay, let's just take sports for one. This always really, I love this part. So if a guy's going to talk about sports and he talks about our team, my team, okay, and here it's the Broncos. Everybody's crazy about the Broncos. It's our Broncos. Okay, did you see how our team nailed that team last night? Okay, our guys need some little help out there. They always talk in terms of our team as if they were playing on the team. And I've even heard a lot of husbands say, hey, we're not having such a great year this year, but our fans, hey, they never stop rooting. So do you see how this really inclusion of our, just a simple comment of our, can really make a small difference, but a big difference? Okay, so my question to you is, how can you start saying things more like our friends? Okay, think about that for a second. If you'd like to write in the comments, love to see your comments about that. Hi, sweet Megan. It's great to have you on. Okay, now I promised you that we would talk about goals today because I want to know how you set goals together. I really believe that it's easier to set small, short range goals together than really super long ones. Or sometimes it's easier to set long ones because you never really have to get active with it, right? You never have to really jump into it. It's just this dream out there. But when a dream is committed to paper, when a dream is committed to action, it's no longer a dream. It's actually happening. So I really suggest that you do a weekly plan sheet together. A weekly plan sheet. I've got an old one here, but a weekly plan sheet kind of looks like this. It's every day of the week, and the days are sectioned off. Now, why do a weekly plan sheet? Because goals help everyone. And they also help everyone in your family get on the same page about what's going on in the week. It fosters what? Communication and cooperation. So you could, when you start doing a weekly plan sheet, I always suggest Sunday night, do it with your husband first. So you first, your husband second, and then the whole family third. And the reason why I say this is because when I first started doing this with my family, lots of children at home, I got a lot of pushback because remember how the brain works, not just for little ones, but for big ones too. Your brain doesn't like change. So when I started doing a weekly plan sheet, I would get eyes rolling, even my husband's eyes rolling. But here's what it does. It not only invites cooperation, but you start to see progress. You start to see people's needs being met more because they're not just all of a sudden informed that they have a game or all of a sudden informed that they have something going on. It really does foster cooperation. So make sure that your rewards are also built into that weekly plan sheet and anything that you're doing together. Why do you have rewards for your husband? Probably why? Because you love rewards, so do they too. So I believe in having rewards. What are the rewards for staying on task, for staying on duty, for staying on with our goals? Well, let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So I don't really like to dictate the goals because I don't have a buy-in if I do that. But I like to ask my family, hey, what do you guys all think about taking a vacation? Where would you like to go? So when you offer that, then you're also offering them to come up with something. Maybe they say, I don't know. Maybe they say Disneyland. So the great thing about that is if you can agree on something with your husband first, then you can present it to your family second. Present it to your husband first because you want him to be the initial buy-in on any goal that you are setting. But make sure you get his opinion first. Like, what do you think about this, honey? I'm thinking about this. What are your thoughts about this? And then if you are in business, how does that make your buy-in for your business? Because one of the concerns I've always had is when someone doesn't have a goal, then they don't really get started. Or if they get started, they stop. And if they stop, then they've got to start all over again. So make sure you set goals together and get their buy-in. So how does that happen? Well, I really believe that husbands buy into when they know what's going on. Like, for instance, let's just say that you have all decided a trip to Disneyland is what you want to do. And then you present this to your family and they're like, yeah, I want to go. But there's also a price to be paid for that, right? And the price is what is required for each one of the family members, for dad and also for mom. So you might say something like this, well, you guys have figured it out that financially we can do this. I will need to work my business 2 nights a week and Saturday mornings. Are you guys okay about that? And you get their buy-in. Now, what's required of them? What kind of extra household work will they need to be doing? What kind of more running around will your husband need to do to take the kids to activities? Get down on paper, on the weekly plan sheet, what is required of them. And then when you go to the next Sunday and you have your next weekly appointment with them for 15 minutes or less, ask how they're doing on their part of getting your family to Disneyland. Because if they have stake in the game, you guys, seriously, if they have stake in the game, they're going to be much more in the process. And the reward will be so much richer for everyone. and the experience will be so much richer. Okay, I hope that that helps, and I hope that that's the way you think of things too. Okay, so this next part, and I'm going to look at all your comments here in just a second because I love your comments. Hi, Jerry. I said I'm going to look at him and then just look at him. Okay, but this one I really want to spend some time with you on. This one I think is really important because there are times when you need to really talk to your husband and you really want to have something happen in your life, either different or you want to add something to it, or maybe you want to start a business, or maybe you want to start something new, or maybe you want to go for a goal that you really has been on your heart and your mind, but you know you need his backing, right? Yes, absolutely. So much easier to have his support than him pushing against everything that you're doing. So I'm going to suggest to you a couple of ways that you might do this. How can you get his support? Well, first off, I'm going to suggest that you don't have a serious conversation with your husband unless you've fed him. So feed him first. Remember last week, feed the beast. Okay, and then get to a quiet place with no interruptions and no children. Okay, get to a place, no interruptions, and I might suggest a couch. And then turn and look at him and hold his hands, both of his hands, and look in his eyes. Okay, now you might catch him off guard by doing all this, but you have someone's complete attention, his complete attention. Don't have the TV on, no distractions at all. And then tell him, honey, this is what I'd really like to do. And I'd really like your blessing, and I'd really like your support. And I promise you that I will give it all that I can. And let's set a date maybe of 6 months. If you'll support this effort for 6 months, it would mean the world to me. Look at his eyes. Look in his right eye. Okay, that's the one you shake hands with. Look at his right eye. Don't blink. Because when you're going for this, you need to have him in on it, right? Now, I don't know if there's a husband alive, and maybe there is, that wouldn't support a wife coming to him with this approach. Now, remember, when you tell him the plan, you don't need to be really detailed. What he really wants to know is what's expected of him, how much he's going to have to sacrifice. And he needs to know the plan, because if you plan on, let's say, working on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturday morning, or whatever your plan is, whatever it is, stick to it, and you've both agreed on it. Okay, hope that helps. Let's take a look at some of your comments. Hi, Megan again, Jerry, and thank you. Thank you, Charity. It's nice to have you on. And Becky, thank you always. Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that, Kara. Thanks for your comment. That's excellent. I know. And you guys can all read these comments, right? Of course you can. All right. And Cindy said that I need to prove to him that I am committed to my business and I want to succeed. Yes, it is. It's very much a part of it. Okay. Kara, when she was little, she would sit on those weekly plan sheet meetings on Sunday. And yes, she was one of the eye rollers, but not for long. Because you know what? There was payoff for the kids too. Big time. Uh-huh. Oh, good. Thank you. Okay, you got some really good comments here, you guys. Don't miss them. They're really great. Okay, so I'm going to tackle another one really quick. And I really thought that maybe I'd get through all of these, but I know that in our 15 minutes that we're not going to be able to do that. So I'm just going to go to the next one, and then we're going to hit we're going to have to do part 3. I mean, there's just, there's no way that I can cover love languages, because that's actually the last one. So we'll cover that next week. I really believe in love language. Okay. So here's one that I think is a stickler for many of us. And that is the thought of when there's a problem or a situation and you get a little mad about it. In fact, sometimes we can get a little huffy about it and a little stubborn. And we might even have the thought of, I am not going to tell him what's wrong. He's asked me what's wrong, but I'm going to not tell him what's wrong. He should know. For all this time that's passed, all of our relationship, he should know what's wrong. Okay? Well, see, so what's obvious to us is really not obvious for some men. It's really not. Do they need to be informed again what's going on? And the word to that is yes. So many times you might think, well, after all this time, he should know what's bugging me. Well, you know what? They don't. Okay? So how many times, you guys, When your kids were growing up, how many times did you tell your little boy to brush his teeth? And how old was he before he actually started brushing his teeth on his own? I mean, really? Really? Okay. So some people say, well, how many times do I need to ask my husband to take out the garbage? I mean, this needs to be done every single day. Yeah, you need to ask him every single day. But don't ask him spitefully. Ask him in a nice, sweet way, as if it were the first time you've ever asked him to take out the garbage. And do you need to ask him again to pick up the kids from an activity? Yes, you do. You need to ask him again. Okay, and so do you need to ask him not to crack his knuckles in public? Yeah, but don't do it in public. Okay, so this is going to be the deal. Really, is that you have a gut level reaction to a lot of this. But you know, we are coming from the female mind, not the male mind. I would like for all of us to shift gears a little bit and focus on the things that you like about your guy. Because 90% of the things that is all around your relationship you like. And there might be 5 or 10% that you're not really happy about. But if you focus on what you like and what you adore about him, and that's where you put your focus, and that's also where you put your comments, then what you like is going to grow. And then what you don't really care for is going to start to be eliminated gradually. So I'm just going to share with you that your thoughts get in the way. He should know something. I can't believe I have to tell him this again. Don't you don't even have to go to those thoughts. You just make it just a matter of, okay, I'm okay about that. I will say it loving and kind. It's your opportunity to show love, even if you've asked him 45,000 times to pick up his socks. But do it in a loving, kind way. Because sometimes there are some things, a lot of things that just are not worth getting upset about or creating tension in your relationship. And I know you'll all agree with that. Okay, so let's see what your comments are. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Lisa. Lisa Whitehouse. It's good to have you on. And Jody, it's good to have you on too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So I'm going to do an analogy really quick about focus. All of our kids played soccer. All of them did. And if they were coming down the field with their soccer ball and they shot the goal, but they were looking at the goalie when they shot the ball or kicked the ball, the goalie would catch it every time because they kicked it right to the goalie. So we practice with them not looking at the goalie, not looking at the distraction, but look at where they want the ball to go. Now, I know that's simple, but boy, big percentage of the change was that they'd actually get the goal. So today I wanted to talk to you about where your focus is, what you focus on. Do you focus on his strengths and the good things that you like about him, or are you focusing on the negative? Are you also focusing on some goals that you can set together so that you can feel like you have growth going in the same direction? When you feel as a couple that you're making progress in any of your area of your life, it will give you confidence to be able to improve other areas of your life as well. Remember that many times you need to almost let it be his idea. If you can just be silent for a little bit, let him talk, let him think. Many of us have already thought something through. We've thought the goal, the plan, how to do it, how to get it going, and what the end result's going to be. We may have to reel that in a little bit, because if you're goal setting with your spouse, your husband, your guy, and you present all of that to him, he may not buy into it. So I want you to go back and really look at the steps on that. And of course, I love all of your comments too. I love all of them. Okay, so lastly, I just want you to know that many, many men out there need you to say what a great job they're doing. But I want you to know that they need some specifics, okay? So when my husband mows the lawn, I always like to tell him something really great about the lawn. Wow, you did such a great job on our lawn. The whole community sees you out there mowing the lawn, and they all say, wow, what a guy that Suzanne has. I know that that sounds corny, you guys, to some of you, but I'll tell you what, my husband puffs up every time I say something like that. So when you compliment your man, be very, very specific. You'll find that if you also do that with your children and in your relationships, compliment somebody, be very specific about them, their character, what they've contributed. And of course, always remember this is that you love them first. You love them first. And when you realize how much you love them, sometimes the sting can go away. Okay. All right. So we have talked a lot today, but we didn't talk about number 9. Okay. Number 9 next week is going to be tell your guy what he is before he is it, which ties into, of course, love languages. We didn't talk about show him the money, but we want to hit upon that next week. And we also didn't talk about love language. So part 3 is coming to you. Part 3 is coming to you. Well, Jeanette, thank you for being on. Sydney, thanks for being on. Everyone, thank you. Susan, Brownie, thank you for being on. And I appreciate this. Now, give yourself a little homework today before we get off, Rich Girl. Give yourself a little homework on how you can implement some of these things. This also works great for sons. It works great for any relationship in your life, especially those male relationships, because you know what? We all really want the same thing, don't we? We want to be happy. We want to be fulfilled. We want to have joy in our relationships, and we want to have healthy relationships. And I know that being a rich girl, that's what you want too. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you. Have a great week out there. Do your weekly plan sheet. Makes a big difference. Love you guys.